Welcome to the Crazy Cool Family Podcast with Don and Suzanne Manning. Parents, what if we could give you the power to transform your family into something absolutely amazing?
A family where everyone is healthy, gets along, loves Jesus, and has great purpose in life.
Hey, let us flip your thinking to unlock the power God has given you to create your own Crazy Cool family. Crazy Cool Family Podcast people, do you want to be
The most amazing family you could be.
the most amazing parents you can be?
The most crazy cool family - parents you can be.
We have this amazing resource we call Basecamp. What is Basecamp? Basecamp is more than a podcast. It's more than a YouTube video. It's more than a Facebook post. It's
More than a website.
Yes.
It's more.
It's a membership site.
It's actually an invitation for you as parents to come in and learn from our 30 plus years of experience when it comes to parenting. It's filled with all sorts of videos about all the things that you need to or you could learn about how to be a crazy cool family.
So all you have to do, it's so easy to sign up. It's free. And
That's
we
a
give
really
you,
good price.
And you have access, You have access to all of our content every day, 24/7, on your phone, on your tablet, on your laptop. All you got to do is go to basecamp.crazycoolfamily.com. That is basecamp.crazycoolfamily.com.
Don't forget the dots, dot.
And it takes 2 minutes to sign up, and you'll start getting our weekly emails, our weekly Basecamp newsletter emails, as well as have access to all of our courses. You can do it in your small groups. You can do it individually. You can do it with your spouse. Basecamp is the way to learn to be a crazy cool parent.
So come on in. Come be a member for free.
Yep, we can't wait to connect with you. Happy November again.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, we are getting towards Thanksgiving with the Crazy Cool Family Podcast. Getting into happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all these fun things that are happening.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
But we are focused today. We are focused today on Thanksgiving. So the part 2 of our
Yep. Last week we talked about being aware. We're talking about how to have the best Thanksgiving you've ever had with your family.
Yep.
What if you make Thanksgiving 2021 the best one so far? You can't go back. You can't go back and make those better. You can always make the future ones better. But the one that we have right now, the one that's coming up, the one that's just in a couple days or tomorrow, if you listen to the podcast on Wednesday,
there you go.
How can you make it the best one ever? So we talked about awareness.
Well, and let me, and on that point, before we get to our next word, which we promised you last week, it just brings to mind the scripture in Philippians that, you may think, oh my goodness, my Thanksgiving past have been rough. Mm-hmm. Hey, here's what God says, forgetting what lies behind, looking forward to what lies ahead, we press on towards the goal. Mm-hmm. God has forgotten about every bad Thanksgiving your family's had. He's forgot about all the in-law fights. He's forgot about everything. And we are going forward with He loves you and He wants you to have a great Thanksgiving. He wants things. He wants new revelation. He wants new things to be healed. So let's reveal our new word.
Get a little drumbeat
there.
there.
Exactly. So we had awareness, and now what's our next word?
And so this week we're going to just talk about appreciation. And I love that the word appreciation is obviously linked to gratefulness, thankfulness, and that's what Thanksgiving's all about.
So define it.
Well, and so the act of estimate, I love this. Oh my goodness, I love this definition. It's the act of estimating the quality of things and giving them value, their proper value, their highest esteemed value. We were talking about value. Whose value are we talking about?
Well, I think we're supposed to give them God's value. That whatever God's value, like we might see this annoying 7-year-old nephew that is, we just dread going over there because of the way.
He's a brat.
Yes. and we, it's, I wish they would parent them better and all those things, or we judge and everything that we do. And it's, my goodness, it's a 7-year-old. But what if you see them through the lens of how God sees them and give them their proper value in the kingdom? And so what do we do with that? We estimate and we give them, and what you do that is through thankful recognition. I love that that's what you said in the notes here, the thankful recognition.
And I love that's what appreciation is. It's recognition that is wrapped in gratefulness. It's wrapped in thankfulness. And so when you appreciate someone, it takes the relationship to the next level. I was talking to Maddox the other day, and he said something so interesting.
Maddox is our 17-year-old son.
Yes, and he said, Mom, he goes, I find it really easy to connect with people that appreciate me. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? Like, clarify that. And he goes, well, it just makes it easier to have things in common with them because they value me, they appreciate me, and they want to hear what I have to say.
Well, and versus someone who's critical of you or
doesn't
judgmental of you.
Yeah, or this doesn't mean like, you kind of like flip the hand like, oh yeah, whatever, that's just.
Or doesn't,
it's just.
Yeah, doesn't think you're important. I was in my office the other day talking to a lady that works for me, and I was distracted because I was looking at something on my computer screen, and, one thing she says was, oh, it sees like you're busy. And I was like,
I am very busy, but I'm sorry I'm not honoring you.
And but I had a scheduled meeting with her. And so what I should have done is I should have finished that task, looked her straight in the eye, and faithfully recognized her. And then, she would have felt more important and everything else. And so I think that's a great example of thankful recognition of how we're going to do that. So,
so I think that like gratefulness, when we are grateful, it literally changes the experience that we're having. If you go into some experience and you're whining and complaining about it, then it's going to have a negative air about it. Your experience is going to be negative. But if you go in grateful for the situation, I love the way it smells in here. This is so amazing. This is beautiful. If you go into it with, I'm so glad I get to be here. If you go into it grateful, then that is next level. The same thing with appreciation. Appreciation actually just applies to a person. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to literally take that relationship. It's a supernatural relationship bonder is what I would call it.
Well, and just think about this. So you've driven 5 hours with the kids in the car from, to get to your in-laws' house.
And your pies are in the back seat, and you're stressed that they're all over the trunk.
Well, your wife is stressed, and you're wondering if you're stressed because she's stressed. So I'm going from the male perspective here.
Yeah.
And so, your wife has a headache. She's had it all day, and it's just a little dull one that, kind of is in the back of her head, just enough to make her slightly annoyed, not totally.
And a little grouchy.
Yeah, yes, and the kids are loud.
Yes.
And so,
they're bored, and they're done being in the car.
And so now you're already, a little bit, the shoulders are a little bit, tight, and you walk into you can already hear the stress or kind of feel it when you pull up in the driveway because the mother-in-law is in there frantically cooking dinner.
Running around like a chicken with her head cut off. That would be me.
Yeah. You kind of smell something burning and you're a little bit concerned about it. So how do you take that situation and turn it into the best Thanksgiving ever? And, whatever, that's just one example. Put your stress in there. Put the 7-year-old
your
nephew.
Scene, create
put
your,
Put the family situations. Put the marriage that's stressed. Put, that your father-in-law who's always critical or whatever, whatever your situation is. So our question to you is how do you use awareness and appreciation in this case to make it into the best Thanksgiving ever?
Best Thanksgiving ever.
Yeah.
And so we would say, obviously you're aware, you've assessed the situation, you realize your wife has the headache, and you realize the mother-in-law's burned the rolls or whatever that is, so you're aware of it. So what do you do now? Apply appreciation. Well, what does that look like? Well, I would say the easiest way to apply appreciation is through the 5 love languages. I don't know if you're probably familiar with those. Gary Smalley's 5 love languages.
Gary Chapman.
Oh, Gary Chapman.
Yeah.
Who's Smalley?
There is a guy named Gary Smalley, I think, but who wrote some. But I think
it is Chapman. Yeah. You're right. Anyway, and so what does that look like? And so let's just kind of go through each one of those, and then maybe even use an example of how that would apply in that Thanksgiving scene.
Yeah. So I was, use words of affirmation, encouragement. I just think that is, it's probably one of the biggest things I've changed as a parent, and I've learned it from other people. We were out with a guy just a couple weeks ago, and I noticed how he was so affirming and encouraging to everyone around him. I mean, in over-the-top ways where, like, we were out fishing, and I caught a little bass fish, and he's like, "Oh, Don, you're like the bass master." And I was like, "Dude, all I did was catch a fish."
It's a wee little bass master.
I think you just cussed there somehow.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. So, but it was like he wasn't over the top, but it was very generous compliments. Hey, man, instead of, hey, wow, you made that shot, or wow, instead of, hey, I can help you learn how to shoot better, whatever. And that he was just really good at bringing out affirmations.
Yeah, and so goes back to, you got to be aware, you got to pay attention to what's going on, and then you've got to find the good things to say. Like for over Thanksgiving specifically, let me give you a couple things. Say the dinner tastes amazing. Maybe not everything tastes amazing, but you can say the dinner tastes amazing. The sweet potatoes taste amazing. Right. Go ahead and say that, because the people that have slaved really hard to cook it all day long or all week long or whatever that is, that to them is their payment. Yeah. Is your words of affirmation. The pies are the best you've ever made, even though they spilled all over the back of the trunk, this is the best Thanksgiving I've ever had. I love spending time with you. Just any words that you can use that are life-giving, that bring hope, that put courage into, that's encouraging. It's going to change your Thanksgiving.
Thing in that when you go into these family settings, really, nobody wants to hear a lot about how negative you think the world is.
Oh,
gosh. and how negative everything is. I mean, if it's just not let's get into the political rants and all
talk
the things
about this, that, and the other.
And let's talk about the negativity of the COVID vaccine and the COVID virus. And
what if we intentionally chose not to?
Yeah.
What if we intentionally said, let's talk about encouraging things?
Yeah. And so
that's good.
Another one is acts of service. It's amazing how, our sons-in-laws, for example, that's one of the things I think of is they help out a lot. I mean, they just do things and they look out for stuff, and it makes me appreciate them so much.
Definitely. And so what would that look like? Offer, can I carve the turkey? Let me watch a YouTube video really quick, because I don't know how, but I'll learn really quick so I can do that. Or I'm going to take the trash out. Are you good with me? Is the trash full enough for me to take out? Or the sink full of dishes? Right. Those things are all very helpful. And then even just a little note to dads. One of the most beautiful ways to serve your wife on a crazy holiday is to entertain the kids, is to play with them and have fun with them.
I thought you were going to say massage their shoulders.
And feet when it's all done. Most definitely that, for sure. Add that to the list. But to just take the kids and to play with them. The kids love it. The dad loves it because the dad's got fun wound up inside them. And then they're kind of out from under the mom's feet as she's getting stuff together.
Yeah, I think this is a stereotype, but I'm going to say it anyway. Don't be a lazy dad. Don't be a cranky mom.
Yeah.
If you can think about that, so often the dad's on the couch, the mom's
thinking he can relax.
Yeah, and the mom's scurrying around, and it's just
100
why don't
miles
we
an
flip
hour.
that, and just invite your husband in to help, invite the kids in to help, invite and dads, step up and do things and involve the kids and play with the kids and create, activities for the kids or whatever, so that, and it doesn't have to be the whole time, but, you'd be amazed at what, hey, and a lot of times we don't have work for several days. Mm-hmm. What if it's a time you're just going to sit down and play Legos with your kid, or you're going to play Dollhouse?
They'll love it. Put your phone in the other room. Let it take care of itself and enjoy your kids.
And just ask them, what? It's so funny. My grandkids now, 2 boys that are in their 2s. Hey, Pops, play with me, play with me, play with me, play with me, play with me. Okay, and if I sit down, they'll be like, oh, this is cool. You got kids like that too, whether they're grandkids or your own kids, just acts of service.
Yeah, that's good. So another love language is gifts. So gift giving. And so that's easy to do at Thanksgiving.
So our address is 3.
And so you can bring a bouquet of flowers. That's a beautiful thing to add to a Thanksgiving celebration. Or a box of chocolate is lovely when it's all said and done, or even a bottle of wine if you want to do something like that. And just say thanks for making a fabulous meal. Thanks for working so hard on this.
Gifts make people feel thought of.
Oh, yeah, noticed.
And it may be, it doesn't have to be a lot of money. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. Just a plant, even for or something. Anything that,
even a little note. Just thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So another, as we go through the love languages, physical touch.
Right.
Just being willing to, and hopefully we are post-COVID enough that we can go ahead and give hugs.
Hugs for everyone. But if you're in a place where you're not comfortable or you're not a physical touch person and you don't enjoy that, then it's okay just to tap. It's okay just to say, hey, just if you take the physical touch and you partner it with some words of affirmation. Thanks so much for all you've done.
A little fist bump.
Yeah, a little fist bump, a little high five. Just we are creatures that are created for touch. And I think that there is a lot of us that go without being touched by another person. Our teenagers, they are so awkward and they don't want to be hugged, but they actually do.
Right.
And so now they might not want to be hugged by old Uncle,
as she points at me,
old Uncle Phil or whoever you are, whatever that is.
But
me.
If you're on camera, you can
shake their hand and say, "Hey, man, you look great," or you know. And so I just encourage you to figure out a way to. Yep. And then don't forget the rub your wife's feet. That's physical touch.
Go behind that teenage nephew and just give him a big bear hug from the back or something. You can, so many ways you can do that. But what is, even the fist bumps or whatever, we go back to, what are those called? It's thankful recognition. You are recognizing they're in the room. You're, just telling those kids how big, we always talk about how big they've gotten or whatever, but just kind of treating them like adults and engaging them with hey, how you doing? How's your life? Talking to them, the physical touch, because it kind of leads to the last one, quality time.
Mm-hmm. And so that feels like that's impossible to do in a room full of people. If you've got a whole, so what I would encourage you to do is to find the person that's sitting by themselves and just go have a conversation with them. We talked about that awareness, being aware of who is where and what they're doing. And then Dawn is really good at this, just making your way around the room and making sure that you just have a conversation with everybody and talking about share with in this podcast what you shared in the last podcast about having a good conversation.
Was that in the last podcast?
Yeah, form.
Oh, it was talking about, it feels like it was in this one. But anyway, so it's the way to start a conversation with anybody. A guy was telling me this the other day. It's form, which is family, occupation, recreation, and money. And just talking about asking them about their family, asking about what they do, and really so cool to ask them, what do you do for fun? Mm-hmm. What do you do for recreation? And so, and just really, the money piece we were joking about, not how much money they have, but just, what do they spend their money on? What are their interests? It kind of gets you into what their interests are. And so thinking about that, how you start conversations. I also want to just say it's okay in a big setting to focus on one person. Mm-hmm. That happens too. We see that happen a lot in our family conversations, that you may see a bunch of different conversations going on, but there's one where they're pretty deep and pretty intense with that, and it's okay in a crowd to get with somebody and to do that with them. And
then on the opposite side of that, I'm glad you brought that up. On the opposite end of that, of quality time, is you could also hang out with them and not say a word. Or very few words. Like you could go out in the front yard and just throw the football. Throw the football, or take Dawn will take the little boys out in the backyard and play in the rocks and stuff. And I'm sure you're not having deep conversations with the 2-year-olds. Right. And so it is about the words, but it's really just about the time. I'm just hanging out with you, even if you don't say anything at all. And so that's how you show appreciation. It's go through those little love languages, because everybody feels loved and appreciated in a different way.
Yeah, and so, it really is a game changer when you look to, what we said was in the definition, it's the act of estimating the qualities of things and giving them their proper value, of valuing people. We talked last week about awareness, and then it's almost like awareness is where it gets in your brain.
Yeah.
And the appreciation is where it comes out.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, you turn it on and then it comes out.
Yeah, and so it's just noticing and then saying and then doing it in a way. And one of the things I want to kind of wrap up with, it's really important, I think, in these family settings to be careful with how you joke with people. and because you may not see these people a lot, or maybe it's your family or whatever, and there tends to be in families a lot of times these running jokes.
Everybody's just wanting to laugh. Everybody's wanting a good laugh.
But it's usually at somebody's expense. Mm-hmm. He's got a big head, or or he's got this problem, or he's not. Whatever it is, or he stumbles and falls, or whatever. Just be careful about because those things tend to stick. And create values and create things. And so sometimes you can be the one that says, but he's also this.
Yes.
Or you can flip it into something else, and that way you can show appreciation for that person. And maybe it's because in every family setting, it seems like or maybe most family settings, there's the kid that's not quite enough. Yeah. Or there's the uncle who everybody is annoyed with, or there's the brother or whatever. What are you going to do to appreciate them?
And show appreciation. I love that, so that everybody else does too.
Yeah, and you'd be amazed at how you create an upward spiral for that person in that family setting versus a downward spiral.
And so simply, if you just want to be a game changer in this Thanksgiving, just add, I appreciate you. That's nice, simple. I appreciate you. If you want to take it to the next level, you could say, I appreciate that you made this beautiful feast. I appreciate that you cleaned the house for us. I appreciate that you drove 5 hours to be here. Find something to appreciate about each person in the room and say that. And we give you permission to use the word appreciate if you want to, because
you can call everybody Bassmasters. Now, you don't have to because they didn't catch any fish. Yeah. But just going over the top with your appreciation. Wow, this pie was amazing. Just put some inflection in your voice. Put some, don't just, that was really good. Put some pizzazz in there and make it fun. And then you'll find you elevate. We were talking about how do you turn this scene and make it into the best Thanksgiving ever. Bring your game into there and watch you elevate the presence in the room. And instead of being the downer that everybody's trying to overcome, why don't you be the person that's going to bring up your Thanksgiving game, and so it elevates the game of everybody.
Okay, so as we wrap this up, though, I want to challenge you to do something that might feel really awkward, and that is to have a conversation around the Thanksgiving table at the meal, either while you're eating the meal or after the meal, where you talk about what you're grateful for, what you appreciate, and have everybody go around the table and say something. And if you've never done it before, it will be awkward. The first few times we did it, it was awkward.
Right.
And as we add new family members who have never done it before, it feels awkward.
We really enjoy watching them being awkward.
Exactly. We have a lot of fun with that. But you walk away feeling you feel full from what you've eaten, but your soul feels full of all the good things that people have shared. Because appreciation, it goes back to that. It's sophisticated. It's next level. It's really what helps us connect or bring heaven to earth. And that's what we want to be for Thanksgiving to be about.
It's a really good full versus the incredibly painful full of the food full from the pie, that extra piece of pie you've eaten, and all the things that all the bulk of food that's in your stomach at the time. So, yes, I love that. Again, I said at the first podcast that Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday.
Right.
Because it's so relational. It's so connective, and it seems like it has a slower pace than Christmas.
Yeah.
And we have that week, or most of that week, where
it's just about the food. It's not about the presents. It's not about the events. It's not about the
And if we can make it, we can make it into anything we want. And so make your Thanksgiving into the best Thanksgiving ever. Let's forget about all the past and look forward to what God has for you this hopefully coming week, and really just throughout the holidays. What are you going to do to, God, in the busyness, so often people say, I'm super busy. I'm like, hey, guess what? That's the time to really press into what God has, because he's going to be there for you to bring his presence into your holidays.
Exactly. So apply awareness and appreciation to have the best Thanksgiving your family has ever had.
Yep. Go be crazy parents, crazycoolfamily.com.